Hi there, I'm Becky Hammond and welcome to Isogo TV. Wherever you are on your strengths journey, I hope to help you take your greatest strengths and apply them to your everyday work and your everyday life. This is episode number 2. We made it, we're back again. Today we're talking about Youre You. And as I was reflecting, I was realizing there's really nothing quite like parenthood or being around kids for an extended period of time as they grow up to realize that some things are just hardwired. And really, it's in that hardwiring where we have our greatest opportunity for success and for impacting people around us. I've seen it and I'm living it. So let's explore. So the other day we were sitting around the table, my family and I, and for a little bit of context out there, we have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and an infant about 6 months or so, and we were all sitting around talking about how this 6-month-old of ours just smiles. He just naturally smiles a lot at anyone and everyone. He's the first to smile and he'll respond to your smile. And so our 4-year-old was all excited and was like, did I smile a lot when I was little? And we both kind of looked at each other and were like, no, you didn't. She's kind of shocked. You were just kind of more curious and pensive and just kind of took things in, but you did it from a very inquisitive look. And that's how she is today, 4 years later, is, unless you really get to know her, she's not going to be over the top smiley. She's going to be a little bit more cautious and a little bit more curious. And that's, it really began to sink in for us that, this kind of cliche comment that you're you. To take another reference from the Frozen movie, it's, we're not saying you can change him, because people don't really change, right? People don't really change. And so that's why your greatest opportunity for success is going to be becoming more of who you already are, refining those things that have always been a part of you. And so as I was thinking through this, who are people in my life that I've seen things in them from a young age that are now doing things with them, that have sharpened those things. A couple specific people came to mind. One of them was my sister. My sister, I always remember her, I'm probably from elementary school, really at the beginning of every school year, painstakingly picking her folders that she was going to use for each of the subjects and making sure that all, it was written on there really nice. And then she really, maybe they're color coded or something else specific. And she really did a good job of maintaining that order and keeping up the organization. And today, she's a professional organizer. What better person would there be to be a professional organizer than someone who this has really been a part of who they are? She's been able to refine that and use it to help other people. Another good friend of mine, her name is Kimberly. I've always loved the way she was an open book. She just was able to communicate about her life, and she really just wanted to reach out and touch people, to not necessarily include everyone and bring everybody in, but to be able to talk to and to touch everybody around her. And that's just not something that I ever brought. So I always admired that in her. And now, based on her own life circumstances, continuing to be that open book, but to be an influencer and a connector that she was, she's really becoming a connector and a leader in her own worlds in families who have kids with disabilities. And so she's becoming a natural resource because of that same tendency to be an open book. And then lastly, Mr. Cameraman, my husband. When we met, we were 15 and 17. So I have known him since he was a child, of course. At the time, we were definitely not children. But one of the things that attracted me to him the most when we first met was just how deep our conversations could be. That he was going to ask good questions, and we weren't just going to talk about the weather or even about sports or music, which of course we did, but there was a depth there that went beyond that as well. And now it's really exciting to see that as a manager, that is the way that he is meets his ultimate success is he has intentional, regular meetings with his people. And not because, oh, he thinks it's a good idea to do in management, but because that's the way he's wired. That's the way that he's going to get the most out of his people, is by really knowing them, knowing what their families are like, and knowing what their strengths are, so that he can draw on them and support them in the way that they need to be supported and motivated. And so it's you out there, people that I have talked to and maybe people that I haven't talked to before. It's identifying what are some of those things, thinking back through like childhood or teenage years. What are some of the things that you were able to do well? Sometimes it comes across as things that maybe you even got in trouble for, right? Maybe you talked a lot as a child. But really that translates over time as it matures into this communication strength from a StrengthsFinder perspective. So thinking back through your life, your childhood, what are some of the things that have always been there that you can refine and use to meet your goals, to get to success, and to impact those people around you? So let's use this. The big question here is, how do you become more of who you already are? It's hardwired. So think about this. What's one thing that you were really good at as a child, or maybe really interests you? And then this week, think about, how does that show up in your decision making and in your executing, your influencing, your relationship building, even just in your thinking? And how could you use that more intentionally to get to your goals or to impact somebody around you? So for example, let's say as a kid you loved history. You were one of those sixth graders that had your nose in a Civil War book. And now, as in your role as a parent, let's say, you want to be the best parent you can be. Maybe you're the archiver of the family. Be intentional, stay on top of that, knowing that what you do to capture memories is going to impact your kids and your family in the future. Pick one of those things for you, whatever that is, and do that this week. And then, once you do, I would love for you to share with me. I want this to be a place where you connect with me and I connect with you and we connect with each other around our strengths. So please head over to the blog at isogostrong.com and leave a comment there, or here on YouTube. I want this message of strengths to get out to the world. I want us to be able to eliminate hate and strife and unnecessary frustration in the workplace and at home, and to help people get to their ultimate place of success. So please share Isogo TV in your circles. Let's spread this word. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, your cousin Betty. Let's get the word out to people. And if you like this, please head over to iTunes and leave a positive review. That'll help get the word out as well. But really, more than anything, I'm glad that you joined me here today, and I hope that you show up next week again for week 3 for Isogo TV.